AEW Revolution
Hey, what's
Press
up, everybody?
Conference.
It's 2:05 a.m. I should be in bed. Think I don't have to work in the morning. But I was watching the post press conference on YouTube, and I have like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the replay on. And right now, the Tony Storm and Deanna Peraza match is on right now. So Samoa Joe came out first, and he was talking about like there's other people's got to earn their spot to win the champ or get to the championship match, and I think Will Ospreay came out next, and he was talking, which I had to tell you the truth. Will Ospreay, that might be one of the best matches, top three best matches I ever seen in my life. It was just so amazing, and I think I'm staying up because I got to rewatch it before I go to bed. Uh, it's phenomenal. I am going to probably become a huge Will Ospreay fan. Like, he's so awesome in the ring. That was the first time I actually seen him wrestle since like last July. But anyway, he showed his he's like, I'm not gonna show my ass cheek, but I gotta show you this. Like, he lifted up his shirt and kind of pulled down his pants and stuff a little bit, and his back where he got bruised, where Takesha dropped him on the turnbuckle, and he was like, oh my god, that movie's like, that hurt so bad I wanted to cry. But he was talking about like the hardest thing to do is not cuss and everything, and Tony Khan was like, hey, you can cuss, the FTC is not here and stuff, you can do what you want. So it seems like Will Ospreay's like the coolest guy. It's just like, I'm so excited to see more matches with him, and he's supposed to have a match on Wednesday with Kyle Fletcher. I forget what belt Kyle Fletcher has. But he was the one member of Aussie Open. I was really enjoying Aussie Open when I was got back into wrestling last July. They were there. So he was just talking about how excited he is now that he's full time with AEW, and then WWE definitely dropped the ball not getting Will Ospreay. This guy can wrestle, and this is the first match I've seen him wrestle. And then Tony Storm came out, Maria May and Luther, and oh my god, she stays in character, and it was so funny. I'm not gonna go through what everything she said, but she was hilarious. And then they had Sting and Darby Allin came out, and they talked the longest, and that was fantastic. That was so awesome. Darby Allin was getting stitched up, and Sting was just talking about like, how he was talking to Young Bucks, and after the match, and he was in the ring, and then I gotta see it because I guess it went longer after the pay-per-view went all out, and so I gotta look it up on YouTube. And Tony Khan was talking about how he was trying to keep Sting until All Out. Is it not the one in Wimbledon? He was trying, but then Sting was like, but no, it was funny because Sting was like, man, I had so much fun tonight. Maybe I should have negotiated with Tony Khan and and like stayed until Wimbledon. But he wanted, like, Tony Khan wanted him to stay to Wimbledon, but then Sting was just like, this just felt right because Greensboro just had so many memories, like with him and Flair. And some of the reporters were just asking him, they were like, oh, trying not to be a fan. But one guy was like, I'm a fan. I watch you in this, match in '88 and all this, and wanted to say thank you. And that's like, before they came out, they made a match between Tony Khan was like talking about like the tag belts, how it's going to be vacated, and during the TV programs that there's going to be a tournament like almost the March Madness NCAA basketball. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm filling out that bracket. I'm doing the bracket. If I don't do a basketball bracket this year, I am definitely doing a AEW tag team tournament bracket. So I'm going to see if I can pick the winners for that night. See how many I get right. So, but they announced that Darby Allin's going to be fighting Switchblade Jay White for the first time at Big Business, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait. Big Business is going to feel like a pay-per-view, especially with all the rumors I'm hearing, because Tony Khan, like, at the very end, after Sting and Darby Allin left, they had a few more questions. He was like, our TV show programs at Atlanta and Boston and Toronto are going to be big. He's like, I got something really big planned and stuff and everything. And I was like, oh my god, I love Tony Khan. Tony Khan seems like the coolest person. It almost feels like a family owned, not like the McMahons or anything like WWE, but it just feels like everybody's so like tight there. Like everybody is so cool, and it just feels like a fresh of breath air. And it does. Like as a wrestling fan, it just AEW is just like the rosters is great, the moves is great. I mean, I like freak out and cheer and clap, and I get excited for Dynamite and Collision and Rampage, and those shows are amazing. And it's funny because when Sting and Darby Allin, he was like, "Oh, I gotta talk about this match," and he was like, "Who is it? Who is it? Who am I wrestling?" And he was, I told him, he was like, "Oh shit." Darby Allin's like, "Oh shit, I'm wrestling Switchblade." He's like, he didn't even know, but he's like, he's got to get healthy because I guess like at the end of March he's gonna take some time off to he's gonna climb Mount Everest. And I was like, whoa, dude. And so I guess like Sting and Tony Khan's gonna talk because I guess Sting might stay in the back in some capacity with AEW, and obviously not wrestling. He's like, I don't want to be an agent, I don't want to be a manager, but something. Maybe he's gonna like help the other AEWs, like newer people and stuff and everything, like, you know, training and then the ring and stuff like that. So he's going to be there in some capacity because I don't think Sting, he's hanging it up from in the ring, but not like behind the scenes and stuff and everything. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's going to take some time off and stuff and everything. And it was a great match. And I will tell you the truth, I am not a big Sting fan. I was a WWE, WWF guy, so I watched Nitro after Raw went off the air and caught the replay. But I was not a big Sting fan. But man, I tell you what, I'm a little bit of a Sting fan here, like in AEW, the matches that I've seen with him and stuff and everything. But yeah, that was pretty much the press conference, and I'm excited to see what AEW has for the rest of the year. And they announced AEW Dynasty in April, and I think that one's going to be on Sunday, I believe. So he said most of the pay-per-views, he doesn't like to compete with the NFL, so most of them are going to be on Sunday in the off season, and then Saturday during the NFL season, or he doesn't want to compete, or if, like, you know, depending, you know, who's playing Sunday night and stuff and everything. I guess it all depends, but yeah, as a wrestling fan, it feels so good to watch AEW. Like, it feels so much better than watching WWE, because I think WWE is going down the drain with all the crap with Triple H and Stephanie and Vince and all this stuff, and it's drama. And who want to watch a show where there's like so much drama? And I'm glad I gave up like WWE years ago. I mean, I watched WWE up to probably about 4 years after Punk left, and then I just was like, I'm done. I'm done. It's boring. It's not fun anymore. I lost my interest. I didn't watch for eight years, and then my friends started telling me, like, you got to watch AEW. You've got to watch this other wrestling association called AEW. And then I watched it, and boom, I'm hooked. So anyway, this is a 9-minute video. Sorry to talk your head off, but to all my other AEW fans, like, what did you think of Revolution? What do you think of the Will Ospreay match? What was your favorite match? Are you excited for Dynasty? All that good stuff. I love talking to you guys in the comment section. So have a great night, everybody. Talk to you later.